Hello and welcome. Today I've come to the delightful village of Kipford in Dumfries Galloway, and I've come here today to do a coastal walk. It's a beautiful little corner of Scotland, part of Scotland not many people know about really, but it's got some beautiful scenery. So yeah, join me on this walk. So it's a bit of a showery day today, so I'm just sheltering from the rain for a moment. But the beaches here are full of tens of thousands of little seashells. It's really quite fascinating. So really changeable weather. It was raining a few minutes ago, now beautiful sunshine. I've been to Kipford before, quite a number of years ago, but I forgot what a beautiful little spot it is. It really is amazing. It's only an hour and 15 minutes from Carlisle, so not far away at all, and some amazing houses. If I had a little bit more money, I'd love to buy a property here. It really is stunning. But it's a part of Scotland that many people just bypass and don't come here, but it is wonderful. It really is lovely. So according to Ordnance Survey, where I'm currently sat used to be an old hill fort. I don't know when it's dated from, and there's not much to see up here apart from the spectacular views, but you can see why they might have chosen this location. It looks down on the Ure estuary and out to the Solway Firth, so great location, great strategic location. Kipford and the neighbouring village of Rockcliffe is also apparently known as the Solway Riveria, and has some of the most expensive properties in Dumfries and Galloway, and there are some really spectacular buildings along this coastal path. It really is a lovely location. Could quite happily live here. So I said I didn't know much about this fort, but I've actually just come across an information board. So it just says this: it's called the Mote of Mark, M-O-T-E, or Mott of Mark, possibly. And it says, on top of this rock stood a stronghold occupied from the 5th to the 7th century AD. It was fortified by a rampart of stones laced with timber, broken by an entrance on the south side with a timber gateway. In the central hollow, evacuations in 1913 and 1973 revealed the remains of metalworking and a circular timber hut. And it goes on to say that they've, it looks like this fort was attacked at some point, probably by the Angles from Northumbria, and they've also found fragments of pottery from Bordeaux, glass from the Rhineland, and objects made in the Lake District, and bangles from Yorkshire and so forth. So they say that this place might have been quite an important place at one point in history, possibly a centre of a small sub-kingdom. So interesting what you discover, and I wouldn't have known about it had I not spotted that on the Ordnance Survey map. It's a beautiful coastline here, but it can also be a deadly coastline. And this is the grave of Joseph Nelson. He was on board the Anne, which was wrecked off the coastline here, and all hands were lost. And he was the only person, the only body that was retrieved from the sea some months later. And his wife laid this tomb, this gravestone here, to mark the place where his body was laid. He was from Whitehaven, so just across the Solway Firth, which you can't see from this place here. look at these coastal views. I wonder how many people know just how beautiful this coastline is. It really is spectacular. It's a rainbow in the distance as well. Don't know if that's coming through on the camera. But what a day, what a view. Stunning. Not only is this a really beautiful coastline, but there's a lot of history along here as well, and what's been really interesting is there have been a number of notice boards, I'm standing next to one now, giving a bit of information about the area and the history of the place. And there's a bit more information about Joseph Nelson, whose grave we've just seen. So Joseph Nelson died when the ship he was on, the boat he was on, the Anne, foundered very close to where I am now, and that was in January 1791. And Joseph Nelson and that crew on the Anne were actually smugglers. They were trying to smuggle things into this area because this whole coastline apparently was rife with smuggling. So Joseph Nelson was up to no good. So Joseph Nelson and the crew of the Anne were not the only people to lose their lives along this coast. Apparently at the late 1800s, shipwrecks were almost a daily occurrence along here, and 1 in 5 seafarers, so 20% of all seafarers in the late 1800s along this part of the coastline lost their lives at sea, which is an amazing statistic, shocking statistic really. You can see why this coastline would have been popular for smugglers. You've got these little hidden beaches. Another reason why there was so much smuggling along this coastline is because we're only 15 miles from the coast of Cumbria. So Maryport, for example, major port, only 15 miles away. And of course, shipping, travelling by sea was the easiest way of getting around. The inland roads weren't very good, so it was much easier to travel across the sea and much quicker as well. So just making my way home, and thought I'd stop off and explore one of the old smuggler caves. And apparently they also used to do mining here, copper mining in these caves. So I'm just gonna see how far I can go and what I can find. So that wasn't the cave I was looking for. Must be somewhere else, a bit further along this beach. So I'm gonna keep exploring and hopefully find it. Right, cave number 2. Let's see if this is the right one. This is looking more promising. That's a bit spooky. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's some strange noises. I'm going to assume it's a bird nesting on the cliffs above me, but it slightly freaked me out. But this looks like it might be the... Oh! Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but that scared the... Something happened in there. I don't know what that was, but it freaked the dog out as well. Okay, that was scary. Okay, so I think that is the cave. Went in a little way, gets quite narrow, it's a bit of a squeeze. I've got a bit of a tummy, so I thought I'm not going to risk it, but it apparently goes 110 meters into the cliffside, and apparently they used to do mining there, and I read somewhere that there's a shaft, a 9-meter shaft that's flooded from the copper mining. But the other thing I just want to show you is this amazing arch. I think it's called the Needles. So if I just turn the camera around, there you can see this natural arch. Anyway, just gonna have a little look at this. So I decided actually to go back into the cave, and there's a narrow section. I had to get down on my hands and feet, crawl through it. But once I crawled through that section, the tunnel widened out and I was able to go a fair way in. I found the tunnel that drops 9 meters down, so there must have been a lower layer, but that's now all flooded. And I went a bit further, but it started to get a bit deep with water, and I thought I don't want to go and get my boots soaked. But it was interesting, quite a bit of fun, and they've been obviously mining in there for centuries, so it goes back quite a long way. But anyway, it's good to go in, fun to go in, but good to come out as well. And I just want to show you these strange things that are in the sands. I'm assuming there's some sort of fish traps that they must have had here, but I'll go and show them to you, and if you know what they are, do let me know. So here we have these poles. And I'm assuming it's something to do with fishing. There's no information. I don't know if you can hear me above the wind, but just across the Solway I can look at Skiddaw, so not far from the coastlines. Yeah, look at that. If anyone knows what they are, let me know. So as you can see, it's turning to dusk, not much daylight left, so I'm going to make my way home. But I hope you've enjoyed this video and enjoyed exploring this part of southern Scotland. I passed a sign where it described this area as the secret coast, and I thought that's quite a good description of this area. Really beautiful, coves, cliffs, sandy beaches, really spectacular countryside, and yet it's a part of Scotland that most visitors, most tourists just completely bypass. So yeah, if you're wanting to explore a different part of Scotland, a less well-known part of Scotland, then I do commend Dumfries and Galloway. But thank you for joining me for this video, and join me for the next ones shortly. Take care. Bye.